Let's turn to the universal basic income. You've said you want it to be a Social Security-like benefit. To be clear, will it ever replace Social Security for older Americans?
It would not. Social Security is here to stay. This is money that you put away. Someone described it as a forced annuity. Essentially, you didn't make a choice when you were working to pay it. You probably resented it. But now you don't resent it. Now you're like, oh yeah, like, I did that for, and my parents did the same thing. They paid it for decades. And so there's Social Security, but we all know that Social Security is not enough to ensure an adequate retirement. Or right now the average Social Security benefit is about $1,470. And can you imagine trying to meet all of your needs on $1,470 a month? That, unfortunately, is the situation that more and more Americans find themselves in. I was looking at how Social Security is actually 90% of the income of many seniors today. And so there's Social Security, which you paid into and you deserve it, and it's your money. And then there's the Freedom Dividend, this $1,000 a month, that is on top of that. That is your right as an owner and shareholder of this country.
Do you have other ideas for helping Americans save for retirement in a government-run system whereby an employee and an employer contribute and that fund travels wherever the employee may land in terms of his work life, his or her work life?
It's been demonstrated that if you make it easier for employees to save, they save more. And by that, what you mean is if you have an opt-out as opposed to an opt-in, then the savings rate goes up. My father was part of the last generation of people that actually got something called a pension. You guys remember pensions? He worked at IBM and he was like the last year, and then they kicked everyone off the pension the next year. They said, hey, you remember that pension? We're now going to port it into your own personal account, it'll be great. But we all know that the pension was a much better deal than the new accounts that employees got. So if we shift the default, essentially, to make it so that you save more instead of saving less, and then you get the cost down, then you can increase Americans' ability to save. You also need to teach financial literacy at the K through 12 level. I have an economics degree from my university, and even that actually is not the same thing as financial literacy. You know what I'm talking about. You're laughing because you might have studied economics too. But the level of financial literacy in this country is contributing to the lower retirement savings. Because if you say, look, there's compound interest, if you save $100 today, that might not seem like a lot, but if you come back in 20 years, it could actually add up over time. Most young people do not understand this, and so we need to help them understand it at the high school level. One thing I've found is that financial literacy is unteachable unless someone has money. You know what I mean? Like if you try and teach someone financial literacy and time value of money and compound interest and all that, totally just goes right in one ear out the other until they have a couple bucks. And then if you force them to invest a little bit of that, then all of a sudden all of those financial literacy principles become much more concrete. So my plan would put $1,000 a month in the hands of every American at age 18, and then you teach them financial literacy leading up. Do you think they'll pay attention to that class then? Yeah, so, and then that would ease the retirement savings crisis over time.